Something very subtle, but also very profound, has just transpired in Britain. For over 500 years, every English monarch styled himself as Defender of the Faith. That faith was, of course, Christianity. For about 1,000 years, Catholic, and for the last 500 years, Protestant. Thus, every sovereign grant report described the monarch in power as, quote, head of the Church of England and defender of the faith. Until now, that is. The recently released Sovereign Grant Report of 2025-26 reads, quote, His Majesty, Charles, is Supreme Governor of the Church of England, yes, and protects the space for faith within the multi-faith nation. So he's no longer the defender of the faith, but rather the defender of the faiths. Again, on the surface, or when first heard, this seems like a meaningless distinction, a matter of slapping an S on a singular word, turning it plural. In reality, it has far-reaching consequences. For starters, when faith goes from being singular to plural in a person's mind, truth gives way to relativism, which is apparently the point here. Put differently, whenever someone uses the word faiths in the plural, so too are they conditioning themselves and their listeners into believing that no religion is true, and thus no religion is worth fighting for or defending. After all, if there isn't one faith, but many, and if all faiths contradict one another to varying degrees, then no one faith can be true. This is Relativism 101, the total abnegation of truth, and therefore faith, in the singular. In Islamic jurisprudence, el-Din, Arabic for the faith or the religion, is synonymous with Islam. Until today, no serious Muslim will ever refer to other faiths as a deen or adyan in plural. That's because there is only one true faith, one deen, Islam. Same with those Christians of a bygone era. During their millennial war with Islam, Christians saw Muslims not as members of another faith, but as deluded followers of a false prophet. Now, anyone who thinks otherwise, as in virtually every Westerner today, who says things like, your truth is your truth and my truth is my truth, has already abandoned the very notion of truth, and has become a relativist. For this newly engineered mentality, truth is always in the eyes of the beholder. Thus, if King Charles has gone from defending the faith to defending many faiths, he has essentially gone from saying truth exists, and thus deserves to be defended, to saying no truths exist. Put differently, if there are now other faiths to be defended in Britain, that means there's absolutely nothing special, nothing objectively true about the Christian faith. It's just what some people believe, and people can believe whatever they want. Such is the great difference that one letter, one little s, makes. But it gets much worse, much more nefarious. The other faith, the one that these changes were made to accommodate, not only believes in separate things, the way, say, Hindus would, it directly contradicts and condemns the truths of Christianity, the faith Brits used to fight and die for, and even calls for the subjugation of its adherents, Christians. I speak, of course, of Islam. Muslims condemn, because their Quran condemns, the entire gospel message, namely that Jesus was crucified, died, and resurrected. Muslims especially condemn the notion that Jesus is the Son of God. Indeed, the Quran goes so far as to thunder that infidels are they who say God is the Christ, Son of Mary. To understand the significance of this, know that in Islamic terminology, to be categorized as an infidel, or a kafir in Arabic, is to be categorized as an existential enemy who must always be hated, fought, enslaved, or killed. Hence why Muslims have, from the very start of Islam in the 7th century, attacked, killed, enslaved, and raped countless Christians. And hence why Muslims today in Britain are attacking, killing, raping, and enslaving countless Christians. The Brits may be atheists, but Muslims still see them as Christians. At any rate, Now Charles is going to formally defend, that is, he is going to protect and shield Islam from any criticism, the way the rest of the British government already does. The truths that I just shared with you about Islam must now be defended against, not just literally by the entire government, but even symbolically by the symbolic head of state. In brief, here is what will come of the King of England's change of title from Defender of the Faith to Defender of the Faiths. On the one hand, Christianity will continue to receive zero defense. It will continue to be publicly mocked, attacked, and cancelled. Every form of media and educational outlet will continue to demonize those pre-modern Christians who once did defend the faith, lest the current Brits try to emulate their ancestors instead of remaining as they are, doormats for Muslim feet. On the other hand, Islam will receive a renewed boost in defense. Any criticism against it, any criticism against migrants will be swiftly defended against, not just by bureaucrats, but by the traditional defender of Christianity himself, the King of England. The end result of this long-term game plan should be obvious by now. Here's a hint. Some years from now, the monarch of England will go by another name. Emir, Sultan, Caliph. But he will also return to being called the Defender of the Faith, singular again. Only that faith won't be Christianity.